We are at Sun Island Resort in the Maldives.
This is an incredibly beautiful island here in South Ari Atoll, and we can't wait to tell you everything you need to know before you book. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Max.
I'm Marin.
We're Voyager Guru. We post weekly videos with travel tips, hotel reviews, and videos from some of our favorite destinations around the world. So if you don't already, consider subscribing. And of course, if you like this video, make sure to give us a thumbs up. It really helps our videos get more exposure and produce more videos just like this. All right, let's jump into our review. Our first category is location.
Location will rate 5 stars. This is truly one of the most beautiful lagoons that we've seen in 14 hotels so far in the Maldives. This expansive lagoon in South Ari Atoll is absolutely beautiful, and the teal blue water goes as far as the eye can see.
The island here where Sun Island is located is one of the largest single hotel islands in the Maldives. It's actually 1.8 kilometers from end to end, so you have a massive area to explore, tons of activities, and it's a huge property with over 400 rooms. So there's a lot of ground to cover, and unlike a lot of islands in the Maldives where you might find yourself exploring the entire island within the first half a day, this island's gonna take you more than a couple days to get through it all.
Both sides of the island have amazing white sand beaches, and there's a beautiful sandbar located on one end of the island. In terms of room location, there's not really a bad view or a bad experience with the beach because the entire island is natural, and it really is one of the most beautiful places we've been in the Maldives.
Now there are a couple neighboring islands that do have some construction as well as an airport on them, but all of those surrounding islands are actually owned by Villa Hotels, the parent company for Sun Island, and so they're in the process of building other hotels and villas on those, as well as infrastructure to support those two hotels down here in the Maldives. And because those hotels are owned by the parent company, there's not really a lot of ambiguity around what's going to be there. So in time, we feel really confident that this is going to continue to be just as beautiful and even more beautiful as they continue to beautify the surrounding islands.
South Ari Atoll is one of our favorite atolls in the Maldives. There's so much diversity in marine life, and some of the best dive sites are in South Ari Atoll. So this is a great place for snorkeling and diving and other water sports.
In fact, one of the main things that you come to South Ari Atoll to see are the whale sharks. And we'll talk about it more in facilities, but we had an amazing whale shark experience here. And it's so cool that they can pretty much, not always, but almost guarantee that year round, they can find whale sharks in this area. Our second category is lobby and check-in.
Lobby and check-in we rate 2.5 stars. The check-in experience from when you arrive in Male until you get to the hotel leaves a lot to be desired. Sun Island does not offer a lounge at the airport, and they don't have representatives that support you through the entire journey of getting on your domestic flight and arriving at the hotel. So depending on when your flight arrives into Male, or if you are coming from another hotel, you might be waiting only an hour or two, or you might be waiting 4, 5, 6 hours in the domestic terminal without a lounge.
Because this is such a large hotel, the check-in groups do tend to be fairly large, and so at this current juncture they don't have a lounge or have an agreement with any other lounges unless you are part of what we've heard is potentially like a VIP check-in option, which you can do, but it's a little bit unclear exactly how you get that. It kind of sounds like if you've been here multiple times in the past, you might be able to get access to that VIP check-in, but again, it's a little bit unclear. If you are curious, make sure to reach out to the hotel in advance and ask if you think you're gonna have a long layover in Male, what options you do have. Once you do get on the domestic flight in Male, the arrival experience doesn't really improve too much. You do land at the local island here, which is also run by Villa Hotels group. So everyone was put on shuttle buses from the airport, taken to a nearby pier where we were then put on boats. Once you get off the buses at the pier, you're told to take your bags, but then they take them back before they go on the boat. I think that piece could be really cleared up. It doesn't seem like it's a necessity to have that in between, and seems like an unnecessary friction. But then the boat ride is really smooth, super quick from the airport to the hotel. It's really, really a great proximity. So I think there's a huge opportunity to really make that lobby and check-in experience a lot better. But the other place where it broke down was once we arrived at the pier, there's really no type of ceremonious welcome. You show up on the pier, and unlike most experiences in the Maldives, you're not really greeted at the pier. They tell you to walk down the pier. They have no buggies, no shuttles, nothing. You don't have to take your bags. They do take care of that, but you walk down a very, very long pier all the way down to the check-in and lobby area where you're seated in groups. And they actually do a group check-in, which is the first time that's ever happened to us in the Maldives. Now again, I think it's because it's a really large hotel. They do have large check-in groups that come in at one time. And to be honest, I don't think that they have enough staff currently to be able to handle those check-ins. It makes for an experience that leaves a lot to be desired, and I think that it doesn't quite seem as luxurious as I think a lot of travelers might expect when booking this caliber of hotel. In general, I think there's a lot of things that they could do from arrival in Malé all the way to your room to improve the quality of that service and the quality of that experience. Even though they do have large groups, I think there's a huge amount of stuff that we'd like to see them do in the future. And based on our previous stay at Paradise Island, where they're doing huge improvements in service, facilities, amenities, style across the property, we're really looking forward to hopefully seeing some of those changes in the future.
One recommendation we have is that if you do have a disability or if you need some assistance with heavy lifting or walking, in particular down the jetty, we would recommend reaching out to the hotel in advance to make sure they can accommodate your needs upon arrival.
Along those lines, another important detail about check-in is that in addition to not having shuttles that take you down the jetty on arrival, they actually don't have shuttles that take you out onto the water jetty. So if you do book an over-water villa, it is an important thing to note that they can't actually take any shuttles out there. So if you do have trouble walking long distances or have trouble biking, if you do rent a bike here on property and aren't going to be able to bike on your own out to that jetty, it might not be advisable to book an over-water villa, and you might go for the beach villa instead. So that brings us to our third category, which is rooms.
Rooms were rated 3.5 stars. There's two sides to the property as it stands as of June 2022. There's renovated rooms and there's the unrenovated rooms. The only renovated rooms on property today are the beach pool villas and the deluxe beach pool villas. And today we're checked into a beach pool villa, which is beautifully renovated. We absolutely love this style. The newly renovated rooms feature beautiful king beds with amazing style on the headboards, and all the little features in the room are very tropical, beach house quirky, and we absolutely love that style. They've fully renovated the bathrooms as well. There's a beautiful outdoor shower with this nice blue tile in the background. The bathroom also features a double vanity and a shower indoors as well with a gorgeous rain shower. There is also a bathtub and a pass-through into the bedroom via a glass window, so you can look at the spectacular view directly out in front of the villa. We're in Villa 294, which has a gorgeous view, and the beach is literally right in front of the villa, so it doesn't make it particularly private, as there are a lot of people that do walk in and out, but the view is unparalleled. It is one of the most beautiful views from a beach villa that we have seen.
Now, if it were just for these rooms, we would have rated it a little bit higher, but of course they do have a number of other rooms across property that have not been renovated yet, including the water villas. We do look forward to seeing those in the future when they do have this renovation, and I think in general it'll really upgrade the rooms across property. Now, there are a couple quirks about the rooms that are important to know. One is that these rooms are adjoined rooms if you are in the beach villas. If you're in the deluxe pool villa, you actually have your own room, but if you are in any of the other pool villas or any of the other beach categories, you're gonna have a connecting room. If you're part of a family, that's really a great opportunity because you can book what essentially becomes a 2-bedroom suite, which is really cool. However, if you are on a honeymoon, I would recommend upgrading to one of those deluxe beach pool villas because it is gonna give you a lot more privacy, as these doors are a little bit on the thin side. And if you've ever stayed in a connecting room in pretty much any hotel in the world, it gives you a similar kind of experience, which I think a lot of travelers might not expect when they're booking a beach pool villa, thinking that they might have a little bit more separation from their neighbor.
The rooms do have a mini bar. It is restocked daily. If you're on the all-inclusive plan, you do have access to a few of those amenities every day, complimentary. Otherwise, the menu items are chargeable. There is no Nespresso in the room today. However, they do offer instant coffee in the room, as well as a tea kettle with tea as well.
If you watched our review about Paradise Island Resort, a lot of the changes that they're making there we're expecting are going to come here soon, including changes to the way that they've done the minibar, how they have the availability of water. They actually limit it quite a bit here, and there are quite a few things here that are a little bit strange, including only having shampoo and body wash and no conditioner. We did request conditioner, and we're given a bottle actually, so I'm not sure if that's something that they do for all guests, but if you do have long hair, might be something that you want to look into.
Similar to the water villas, if you do have difficulty walking or don't want to wait around for a buggy for 20 to 30 minutes, we would recommend requesting a room that's closer to the center of the hotel. This is a massive island, as Max was saying earlier, so there is a lot of walking unless you rent a bicycle for $6 a day, which we'll talk about in facilities.
Our fourth category is service.
Service, we rate 3 stars. I want to specifically call out that the service staff at the restaurants are amazing. They're incredibly kind, they're so patient, and they do their absolute best to do the best job for you and all of the other guests on property.
Everyone from the wait staff to the chefs who wander around the restaurant and are so excited to actually ask you how your food is, whether you like it. I thought there was a lot of engagement from the food preparation department, and I really like that at the buffets, they're actually really engaged, they're out there, and it was great to see that type of engagement from the staff.
Now, where the service starts to break down is around operations and some of the rules and procedures that they have on property. It is very difficult to do luxury service at scale feel in the way that the hotel is trying to do, but it does feel a bit like you're getting nickeled and dimed everywhere along the way while you're on property. We do feel the hotel service is operating a bit like a cruise line in that way, where there are additional charges, hidden fees, strange language used on welcome letters, such as calling the front desk a cashier counter versus a front desk. So we just feel there's a little bit of a difference between the 3-star experience that we're seeing and the 5-star experience that they really wish to be.
I think there's a huge amount of service improvements that they can do. Again, if you've seen our video about Paradise Island, they've already done a huge amount of staff training there. We can really tell that the staff has changed in terms of both their attitude as well as how they actually provide service. So I think that a lot of those changes are hopefully coming to this hotel as well. We're really looking forward to seeing that in the future. But certainly there are small things that I think from a management standpoint could be changed fairly immediately that I think would really improve that service experience, including just not calling things vouchers and cashier counters and making you feel as though you're kind of part of a really big, almost Disneyland-y type experience. I think they could really push more towards a much more luxurious and personal experience by just simply changing how personal some of those interactions are. Our 5th category is dining.
Dining, we rate 4 stars. Overall, we've had a really positive experience with the dining on property. There are a number of outlets across the property that cater to all tastes, and they do have multiple meal plans that you can book in advance. For example, they have a bed and breakfast package, a full board package, and an all-inclusive plan. If you are on the full board or the all-inclusive plan, you have access to the buffet restaurant. If you're in a water villa, you have access to an additional restaurant that is reserved for the water villas that we were able to test out and absolutely loved. If you're on the bed and breakfast plan, or if you're staying a certain number of nights, you will have access to the a la carte restaurants as well. And we overall really enjoyed those experiences.
As we mentioned a little bit in service, the staff at the restaurants in particular are really great, including the chefs and the waiters. They're so engaged. And it was really great to see that at all the buffets, there was really a lot of food prep going on. And so you actively felt like everything at the buffet was fresh. You could order things that were freshly cooked meats, freshly cooked fish. They were actively cutting fruit in front of you and preparing dosas and parathas and other types of food. And it really came through in the quality of the food as well. I thought this was one of the better buffets that we've been to.
We did have a chance to try the teppanyaki restaurant, which we would absolutely recommend. The chef there is a Benihana chef, and it was such a fun experience. And honestly, we felt like we were in a private dining experience because there was nobody else there.
If you do come here, we highly recommend that experience. The food was great, and you sit outdoors at a completely outdoor teppanyaki table. It's one of the pieces that's been renovated here on property, so everything about the style of it looks really cool, and again, super high quality food, totally worth the experience.
We also had the chance to try the Italian restaurant, which was the most popular a la carte restaurant on property. The food was really good, and they do have different menus for all-inclusive versus a la carte options. So if you are here on the all-inclusive package and have access to that one a la carte restaurant experience, you can order a number of dishes across the menu.
In general, that seemed to be the most popular restaurant on property as far as a la carte options went, whereas most of the other ones did seem to sit a little bit empty. And during our visit, the Thai restaurant was unfortunately not open.
One of the a la carte restaurants that you have access to on property is Zero. This is kind of their organic, all-natural restaurant. It is set in the jungle. There's kind of a treetop table area and deck, and it's a really beautiful restaurant with exquisite food. One thing to keep in mind there is to bring bug spray because it is inside the island and there are a lot of mosquitoes. We did also get to try a private dining experience called Dig and Dine. And while I don't think the name quite does it justice, we had a wonderful experience where they set up a table, literally dug into the sand, and it was very romantic.
They do offer a number of romantic dining experiences around property. The Dig and Dine had fabulous food, actually. We had everything from lobster to an amazing shrimp, beautiful mushroom soup. All the food was really high quality and the ambiance was actually really great. Now, they do set up quite a few of these. If you are going to book one, I would recommend really pushing to make sure that yours is in one of the more private locations and asking as many questions as you can beforehand about what's included, what you can get, and kind of pushing them to create a more private experience for you, because the staff that does run that is actually really engaged and they do want to provide the best experience they can, but you're going to get the most out of it if you're kind of the one pushing it.
Yeah, I will say we did feel a bit like we were on display in our private dining experience because we were very close to the main bar and restaurant. So there were a lot of people walking by. If you are looking for a more romantic experience, I would definitely look into the best options for that experience. One thing to keep in mind is if you are booking that all-inclusive package or looking at the prices between the full board and all-inclusive, do know that water, soft drinks, and alcohol are not included in the full board package. If you are on the all-inclusive package, there is also a fairly extensive list of all-inclusive hard alcohol as well. We did notice that people on the all-inclusive package did get very different looking drinks than the ones who were not on the all-inclusive package. So we found that a lot of the cocktails were a bit more dressed up when you were paying for them. And it did provide a kind of strange experience where even if you're paying the most by being an all-inclusive guest, you almost felt a little bit more less than, or that you were kind of getting the lower end of what they offer from a drinks perspective.
This kind of goes back to some of the things that we mentioned in service. It did feel kind of strange that if you're on the all-inclusive package, whether it's intentional or not, you do kind of feel like you're getting an inferior drink than everyone else because somehow you're not paying for it, even though your room rate was significantly more expensive. So there's kind of an oddity there. I think it's something that they have to work through in terms of policy and operations and how they actually perceive that going forward. But again, comparing it to their sister property over at Paradise Island, which did recently change a lot of its cocktail menus and the way that it does its all-inclusive plan, we did notice that the drinks at Paradise Island did have a little bit more of that pomp and circumstance and weren't quite as simple. So again, if you're watching this review and saying, what are they talking about? Hopefully they made those changes. Our sixth category is facilities.
Facilities, we rate 4 stars. This hotel is truly massive and there is a lot going on at the hotel itself. There's a very large water sports center with equipment from all sorts of things between paddleboarding, kayaking, jet skis, kite surfing, and just so many activities available to guests. And those things are chargeable, but we saw a lot of people taking part in those activities. There is also a spa. We did not get to try the spa this time, but it did look very similar to the Paradise Island spa as well. So we assume that the quality and the amenities are very much the same.
They do have a number of bars around property as well, including out by that water sports center. A number of different areas you can hang out and visit, including a nice big pool area. It is a little bit on the older side, but it's still a very cool pool with a lot of waterfalls, and it's right in front of that beach area and next to one of the main bars. So you do get beach service and bar service there as well. Although I do think one thing that they can improve across property are the quality of a lot of the chairs, cushions, and just consistency. There's a lot of different cushions on different chairs in different places. Some of them lack the same comfort as others do. And the number one thing that we found at both Paradise Island and at this resort that we really think is lacking is shade. There's really not a lot of shade structures across property. There's no umbrellas pretty much anywhere. And though there are pergolas that are on the main beach, those are really the only ones you can find. And so that is a little bit limiting. We did see a couple people on the beach with their rain umbrellas, so that is an option as well.
They have nightly entertainment and a lot of activities when it comes to the evening time. They had a live music last night. They have shows every day, and that seems to be a very popular event after dinner. They do also have a dive center, and we were able to take part in a scuba dive in one of the best dive sites in the Maldives called Kuta Ra Tila. So if you are an advanced or open water diver, that is something to go see. It was incredible.
We had the opportunity 4 years ago to dive that same dive site, and still to this day, it is one of the best dives we have ever done. It is so incredible. So many fish, sharks, everything you could possibly want from a dive, overhangs, and just beautiful colors. This area of South Ari Atoll is one of the most marine-rich areas in the Maldives, and we even got the opportunity to do that whale shark experience where we were able to see a whale shark and swim with it, and it was just such a beautiful experience. We had the luxury of being able to go on a private boat experience, but they do offer that as a group experience, and if you are here, it's something not to be missed. They usually find a whale shark, and seeing something like that in the ocean it's really a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
We were able to take part in a dolphin excursion as well that does go out at sunset, and they did serve beer and wine, so while dolphins are not guaranteed, at least you get a couple cocktails out of it, and it's a really nice experience to float around in the open seas during sunset. They do have a couple shops on property as well that sell things like hair conditioner, bug spray, sunscreen, clothing, knickknacks, things like that. They did have a number of closed shops, so hopefully those will reopen or become something new in the future. And there is a gym located directly next to those shops. The gym is very large, and while it is on the older side, it does have a large amount of equipment, and you can pre-book access to their cold plunge or jacuzzis for following your gym session.
They also have a number of outdoor facilities for athletics as well, including volleyball courts, tennis courts, squash courts, some other kind of like badminton or something. I mean, literally they have tons of outdoor activities that you can participate in.
One of the things that we did not really appreciate that they do at Sun Island as well as at Paradise Island is feeding the sharks, the stingrays, and the fish. They do have specific feeding hours that are even listed on their map of the property, and this is a really outdated practice that most hotels in the Maldives are doing away with because it is really bad for the environment. We do really hope that in the future they change practices like this because it is so bad for the environment, and we do encourage guests to not participate participate in those activities. Overall, the facilities are excellent. There's so much to do here and you really cannot be bored unless you want to be.
Our 7th category, style.
Style, we rate 3 stars. While the renovated rooms are certainly closer to 4 or 4.5 stars, the rest of the property does still need an update. But if the renovation is anything to show for what they can really do with this property, we're really excited to come back and experience that renovation.
Across property, there are a number of spaces that are new and do have a lot more style, like the teppanyaki table outside and like that new restaurant Zero, really have a cool, elegant style on their own. But in general, because there's a lot of parts of this property that are a little bit on the older side, a little bit tired, it does seem like the style is disjointed across property. And so we are super excited to see as those renovations take place and the property continues to improve, I think they're really going to up-level the style. And if you watched our other review about their sister property, Paradise Island, you'll know that they're making huge improvements on that property in terms of style. So we're really looking forward to some of that coming here.
Overall, we rate this property 3.6 stars. It is a really amazing vacation place and one of the best lagoons that you will ever see in the world or in the Maldives, and we've had a wonderful time here. I think between the changes that they're making with their service across their hotels, as well as the renovations, this property has huge potential for the future.
Hopefully you found this video useful. If you did, make sure to give us a thumbs up. It really helps our videos get more exposure. And of course, for more videos from the Maldives and all around the world, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We've got tons of videos coming out with more hotel reviews, travel tips, and much more to help you get the most out of your vacation.
And if you don't already, be sure to follow us on Instagram. If you do follow us, you will already have seen our entire story play out on our feed and in our stories. So if you don't already, follow us at Voyager Guru.
And if you are booking a trip here to the Maldives, be sure to go check out our website at voyagerguru.com, where we have full destination guides with lots of useful information about here in the Maldives and all over the world.
And as always, I'm Marin.
And I'm Max.
And we're Voyager Guru. See you out there.